coronavirus is going to stay. We know that it's going to be with us now. So we have to, some way we have to work out our programs, our lesson plans, or planning need to be done in such a way that we are able to work out our task, keeping in mind the online viewing and testing children accordingly. The basic education policy that we have it in India, it's always that we always see our teachers, seniors with a lot of respect. There should be method of conducting examination by making more number of centers so that less number of students are there. In order to change the perspective of these girls, those who are coming out from a humble background, one has to keep in mind that only studies can make you think in a better and a progressive way. We are basically salaried people. Middle class are mostly salaried people. Their income, whatever they earn, they are taxable income. Most of them are, and they are paying it wholeheartedly. They don't have a choice because it is all done at the TDS itself. Even if I take the policymakers, whosoever they are a part of their middle class only. They are nobody from top ones or the very low society people. No, they are not. So most of the time the policies are all done, all made for middle class and from middle class, by middle class, and not for middle class. That is it. This here, the definition changes.
Welcome viewers once again to Middle Class Hub, India's first platform exclusively for the middle class. As you all know, a part of our continuing series on conversation where we talk at length with people from different walks of life who have made it big in their chosen fields, who have come from the middle class and worked their way up and achieved a position in their life. So we will be like part of this series today. We have someone very special, someone who is part of the teaching profession for the last 3 decades, has been associated with some of the leading educational institutions of India. So before wasting further time, I would like to welcome Ms. Kalpana Sinha. She is a computer teacher. She started teaching in early 90s, 1992 to be precise. And she has been part of the leading educational institutions. She comes from the state of Bihar, and we'll talk about her because, as we all know, Corona has impacted us very badly and the middle class has been hit real hard, like other sections of our society. So we'll be talking about her life, about her journey, how education has been impacted severely by Corona crisis, and we'll get to know her perspective on different issues. So welcome Ms. Kalpana Sinha to Middle Class, India's first platform for the middle class.
Hello everyone. I'm really very thrilled to be a part of this wonderful initiative taken by you all. It's Middle Class Hub. Yeah, I would like to be a part of it, and I would like to share whatever I know, whatever I have been doing within my capacity. I had been teaching, I am in this teaching profession for the past almost, rightly said, 3 decades. But the thing is that initial days were very, very easy to go, whatever we had been plans or lesson plans, whatever we had made, we followed it. But lately, for the past, last year onwards, it has really taken a toll from in fact, it has taken toll in all sectors. But the thing is that what we have seen, what we are facing, we have a lot of challenges to face, and we had tried our level best to make sure that whatever we want to impart to our students, or to my student for that matter, we have to be very, very innovative, and the ways have to be a little more novel in interacting with them. And oh yeah, but at the end of the day, it felt, yes, children were happy, and we are contented in a way that we had been able to interact with the different kind of platforms that we have used. And that's all. Yes. Bye.
So it has really changed the mode of teaching, to say, the past year, and with more and more people switching onto online and virtual classrooms. How do you see things going forward, maybe 5 years down the line? Because we know that internet penetration at this stage in our country, it's very scattered. Not everybody has access to that kind of education. So what would you advice to such institutions or students from that studying there to continue the learning process when they don't have, say, internet facilities at their home? Is there any alternative that you can suggest from your vast experience?
Like when we started with it initially, there was a lot of hesitation as a teacher also, but somehow to the schools to which I had been catering, or which I had already I had taught, there are quite well up schools. So over there, the problem with the internet is not there. But keeping in mind or seeing the scenario of the present situation prevailing throughout in this country, for schools, those who have very least, or let's say not proper infrastructure in terms of information technology, they are really very, very in a pathetic state. Think about the teachers along with the students. Students do have a lot of problems in interacting and getting the information or knowledge from their their teachers. But the thing is that um, uh, there should be a collective set of understanding between the parents and the school. So this parent should be there ready to cooperate with the school in a way that they can at least provide, not provide, they should be always there with the school in a way that when school provides certain kind of say system or certain software that can be accessed, or because a common platform like Zoom has a very little advantage, because it has a very less number of students can be accommodated there, unless and until you have a proper subscription taken from everybody can't take a subscription from this. So they have their own limitations. But when we think about the school needs to have a certain basic infrastructure that can be accessed by students all over within their capacity, and can be and well, they can be imparted good education that way. But we had a lot of challenges. I can well imagine my state, my case when I was starting with all these. They had a lot of inhibitions initially, a lot of hesitations. Things were not, we are not so open in front of the, let's say, we are not very friendly with the media or the gadgets that we are handling. It was only for certain time. And more so, the thing that when we had been always talking about students not to use these mobiles, not to bring me mobiles, not to use every time, we had been telling, and consistently we had talking to parents that you should not allow your children to access these gadgets, and they are actually spoiling. But the thing is that this is the time when we had to enforce and make sure that they are using it for their learning process. These were the somewhat changes that we had followed and we have understood. But still, there are a lot of things to be taken care of. Like now, this coronavirus is going to stay. We know that it's going to be with us now. So we have to some way we have to work out our programs, our lesson plans, or planning need to be done in such a way that we are able to work out our task, keeping in mind the online viewing and testing children accordingly, so that they are also very satisfied, and for us, we are more contented that we are able to impart whatever we wanted to. These are the things that we have to be there.
One thing that comes to my mind is, since you have been, since start of your teaching career, if I may say, you have been imparting computer science. You are a computer teacher, right? So compared to you, I'm talking about other teachers who are into other streams. Was it where you were at an advantage compared to others who were not, fully into computers that time before the start of Corona? Did it give you an advantage?
It did certainly give me an edge on others, because I was used to certain platforms. I was used to handling computers, but hats off to those teachers, those who are like for Hindi teachers and all. They had managed to work out so brilliantly and beautifully. They had able to impart their informations and knowledge, whatever they had, to their pupils, that it is worth applaud. So for me, we had also learned a number of ways of interacting, because what happens is when we are teaching, we require our board and all those kind of stuff, that we need to do it, because speaking is not our cup of tea. It's not to be, that should not be the way of teaching in +2 section. So you need to have certain common platform, like you have to have a board where you are interacting and making children aware of the thing, what you're learning, what you're trying to emphasize, or the concept that you want to put into their head. So the thing is that we also had access means we have gone through number of devices. We have accessed all those Amazons, and they serve to be the right platform at the right time, because people had accessed it and bought number of things that enabled us, in fact, to handle our teaching and method so well. And we are really very glad that we had those kind of stuff with us, so that we were like a graphic tablet with a pen and all those kind of stuff. They were using it and making children aware of the thing that is happening. Along with it, the children were also seen at the side that yes, they are all present, and they can be visible to us. They can point out their doubts, questions, clears. So these are a number of things that had been there. So for those teachers, they have learned a long way, yes, no doubt, but they have, for the moment, they are, they are more confident. Now they can do it much well. And they are very happy that now on, even if they have it for next 5 years, they are more competent enough to handle all these, whatever the nuisances they face initially. Now they will be able to do it. And I hope they will do it well. Yes.
I think, whenever we open our phone lines, we get a lot of queries from parents during this Corona time, that this mode of teaching, of course, teachers have adapted. They have, it were new means of technology, platforms, teachers have gotten used to it. Students also, they are trying their level best to match up with this new mode of teaching. But a lot of parents call and they say that, that physical interaction with teachers. So you learn a lot in that mode of the classroom teaching, classroom lectures, where teachers can see the body language, the attention span, the eye contact, and those things. So those things are missing, and most of the parents, they tell me that they're really worried about this mode of learning when it comes to their children. Do you think that children, if I specifically ask, we have talked about teachers, about children, that this generation, I would say 2020 onwards, they are in a disadvantageous position, because we remember going to schools and meeting our teachers every day, taking notes, getting scolded also for not doing our work properly. So those things, do you think it will affect in the long term when they move ahead in their life?
The basic education policy that we have it in India, it's always that we always see our teachers, seniors, with a lot of respect. This is one thing, fine. I'm just taking it in another way first and foremost, then I'll answer your question. So what happened these days is, for the past 1 year, what we have been facing, that we are meeting children online. So the kind of respect that we expect from them, it's all gone. It's very few have a little kind of, they are all considering us to be as an equal. And this was not there in, at least in India, maybe in foreign land, they are all equal, but we don't consider. And we had these, as I am from those school of thought, when we had been, when I had been teaching since long, as I had been teaching since long. So I knew how children used to react, how children used to show their respect and all. So while being online, the responsibility of the parent is no doubt has increased manifold, because what happened over here is the child is there and the parent is aware that the child is attending the class. Maybe the child is not attending the class also. So there's a lot of reason, there's a lot of cases that even though the child has been attending, showing his attendance over there, the child has no knowledge about the topic because he never attended. He was just trying to, a fake out thing, that he was trying out something else and was not listening to the lecture. So what I feel is, even though some of the parents who had been very, very keen in making sure that the child understands everything, the understanding was not that effective as we used to have it in our school, no doubt about it. The classroom teaching, the physical presence, along with it, the movement of the eyes, eyeball movements, you can make out whether the child has understood or not. You use the right word, the body language will make us understand whether the child has understood or not. If the child has not understood, we have the tendency of making it once again, or repeating the whole stuff once again, so that the child students have gathered it, or those who have not understood, even they will be able to make it sure that they have understood. But the thing is that this was missing. We had really missed those things over here. So we just tried to cover up the syllabus, keeping in mind taking the test, and not seeing the thing what is there at the back of them. And even though some of them were hesitant speaking out their queries, some were very open up talking about their queries. Yes, I need, I had this and that. So if they have a problem, it was settled, it was one. But those who have not open up with their problems, it just kept on added on, or just say it was pending throughout with them. And so the interest in the subject was lacking. So they started having no interest for the subject. So it was all left out, even though the child has been performing considerably well before the lockdown. After lockdown, the person is almost failing in the subject. So reason is the interest was lacking somewhere. Maybe because the teacher was unable to reach out to the child, a child was unable to, it's both the ways, it's either ways. But as far as we are concerned, I'm talking about my school, Notre Dame Academy, Patna. We had been always calling up students, talking to them in case if they have a problem, they can talk it out so that we can discuss the same problem once again. So it was always, inviting children that in case if you have a problem, please ask, we'll be talking about this. So if you have anybody having a problem in this, can be again ask for the rescheduling of the whole things, we can go ahead with it. So I think most of the teachers in the senior sections, or maybe for the juniors also, I have very little idea about them, but still I can feel, I can make out that they had been trying their level best, that they are able to make their topic or the subjects very clear to the students through this mode of teaching. But some way or the other, there is a wholly, or let's say, it's a very clear divide between these two, that physical interaction and technological based interaction, they are two separate things. They can't be equalized, of course not. They can't be.
Now that you rightly said that Corona is here to stay, we need to adjust our life with Corona. So what do you suggest to the policymakers? We know that it's an evolving situation. There have been a lot of flip-flops on the part of the governments, not just India, across the world, I would say. So
yes.
what is the right approach going ahead when it comes to school education? Should it be like a mix of virtual, offline plus online mode? Or how do you go about it? Because, you know, at the end of the day, recently there are news reports coming in that the 10th board exam plus 2 exams, they will not be conducted this time. I mean, never in the history of India, since India's independence, this would have happened. I know it's an unprecedented thing. It never happened before. But these children, you know, coming out of without, say, even taking the qualifying exam for 10th class or 12th class. So my concern is which it resonates with a whole lot of middle class parents out there, the families out there, that somewhere in the competitive world, when they get into, they might be lagging far behind. So what should be the ideal approach? As in, what would you suggest to the government of the day to regarding the pragmatic approach, given the tough times that we are living?
There's a lot of self-study that is required from the student's point of view, or from the teacher's point of view. Along with it, straight away scrapping of the board examination is not a solution. because the children, those who have, this is the first public examination they will be facing. So they have to be prepared for this event, and everybody used to look forward to, as far as we all remember our time also, when we were sitting for this board examination, we were always told, you have your board tomorrow, you have your board this year. So it was always there at the back of the mind. But this year what happened is, even though this situation is there, but kind of, no, what I suggest, what I feel, that this board examination should be there for the students to take up and see that how they perform in those examinations where they are not guided, or they are not being conducted by the school, but by some third party altogether. So it should be like they should look forward to it. Apart from that, keeping in mind these exams and all, the patterns and all, they have to be a little bit of change is required. Like for teaching process itself, as we all know, you had been asking me also regarding 5 years down the line, how do I see things? Even for the entire class, suppose the class is of 40, 20 students can be brought into the class, let's say 1 to 20, and next 20 can be connected via online mode of teaching. So we are not wasting any time by rescheduling or reteaching them once again, or we are just, the teachers are not teaching the whole thing once again, but they are actually trying to make sure that whatever is taught in the first day to the first 20, the next 20 are also listening and understanding it. And next day onwards, the alternate set needs to be brought into the school, and the other set need to be there. So there are a lot of government plans. Even government is trying it to see that this is worked out. We are trying out our level best over here in our school also. We are planning this way so that things will be in order with the syllabus is taught within the framework, within the time. Along with it, the revision should be there. And I am always against it stating that the exam should not be there. Exam should be there, but there should be proper method of conducting the exam. Because if the exam is not there, the children have no sense of understanding in a way that they have to really work hard for this competitive world, because the world outside is all so very competitive, and everyone is giving their best and taking their best time to work out their ability in a way that they are able to cope up with all kind of challenges. So in case if it is going to be scrapped off, or people are against it, I don't think this is a solution that's going to help out. It should be that they should be given some time, maybe as the case may be, as the present scene is, it can be, what do you call it? Postponing is not a solution, but there should be method of conducting examination by making more number of centers so that less number of students are there. But the thing is that in our country, when the student goes to a particular school for exam or something, he or she is accompanied by 3 to 4 people from home. So it adds up to the challenges for the school to handle them first and then allow the children to get in. So if this is under control, this is taken into control, then things will be taken care of. Here the parents have to understand that if they're going to see them off to the examination center, only one person, one of the family members should go and reach out to them, and then they should leave the place, so that they are also creating a kind of scene out there. So that creates a lot of problem. And this is what is totally not followed very strictly in our society, in our state or country or city, wherever it is. It's the same everywhere. It's not that Bihar is like this, or UP is like this, or Andhra is like, it's not, it has nothing to do with it. It's that it's all same everywhere. So you have to make sure that certain norms had to be followed, certain lines have to be drawn, that this is this, you cannot go beyond it. So if this is done, then the school and authority will definitely take very good care of everything.
That's very well put, because I also believe that, see, governments can only do so much unless and until it's a situation wherein everyone has to display a sense of responsibility. and
Exactly.
stick to some COVID appropriate behavior, even when it comes to parents dropping, saying off their wards to schools for exams or for regular classes. So
Right.
everybody needs to change. That's the only way to deal with this deadly virus. uh, a lot on education. I would like you to tell our viewers about your coming up in a middle class family. How today you are an independent woman, and you have a mind of your own. You take decisions. You speak your mind. So there are scores of girls out there in the middle class families in our country who have a lot of aspirations, a lot of dreams. I know, I mean, you are blessed to have a great family that supported you, and helped you realize those dreams and aspirations. But, there are families wherein girls are not, they don't get that kind of freedom, if I, for want of a better word, to pursue their dream. Now, for you, growing up in a very progressive middle class family, you come from a very highly educated, your parents were are very highly educated. So it was easy for you, I would say, when it comes to chasing your dreams. So I would like you to talk about your growing up years, how you thought of teaching, taking teaching as a profession, and what would you advise to many girls out there in the Indian middle class families who have dreams in their eyes, but somehow they get feel quite stifled when in the suffocating environment that they are brought up. So I would like you to talk about that.
I'm really very thankful to my parents for putting me into this. Like, we had been brought up in such a way that where there was no distinctions. Uh, Coming out from a humble background with, but the best part over there was studies was given more importance to anything. So it was not told, it was understood. It was a kind of a kind of routine for us, that you have to come and at this particular time you have to start your studying, and you have to see that you complete your topic. So it was, whether it was told or not, it was very much there. So we have to do it. So initially it was just a routine kind of thing, but it just, things started happening, and we started understanding that this is the thing that is going to help us out in making our own future, our own destiny. So what make us confident is the ability to understand what we are doing actually. So if I have to, after my graduation, I started with my teaching part. So I knew that this is the profession where I am very satisfied. I am like, I can do whatever I feel like. I can be there in the class and can handle so many students, and they will make sure, and I make sure that they listen to me what I say. So at least at certain point of time, it is a kind of a blessing. And selecting a career, it just happened, and I started liking it. And at this point of time, I never thought of changing my profession. Wherever I am very happy what I'm doing. But the thing is that in order to change the perspective of these girls, those who are coming out from a humble background, one has to keep in mind that only studies can make you think in a better and a progressive way. No, nobody, what amount of money you have, it doesn't buy anything other than what you think. It can only buy things, material gains, and whatever you can try to do it. But they are immaterial at certain point of time when you have your own education in your hand. So grab your time. Make sure that whatever time you're having, whatever year that you have for studies, give it a selfless, let's say, I should be using the word, just be selfish enough to take up your studies seriously and do nothing apart from that. And when once you're out of it, you'll be able to see that you can be put into, or you can be settled in any environment put into it. whether it's adverse or for your benefit itself, you can create your own niche over there. That is something which everybody look forward to. Initial days are very, very tough, no doubt about it, but after a certain point of time you start enjoying it, and that turns out to be so relaxing that even when your your family members start, or you can start preaching. I won't be using the word preaching over here. It's just that you can guide people to understand how things goes. So make sure that you're studying very well and take up this, whatever suits you best, whichever field you feel you're good, go ahead and, what do you call it? Be successful wherever you are. Whatever you do, be happy with it. It is totally immaterial that you need to have you can only be IAS to be a happier person. No, if you're happy teaching, or if you're happy going to or working out your task in a bank, go ahead and do it. That's something very, very a relaxing kind of thing. Yes, of course. At the end of the day, what matters? It matters that you are happy at the end of the day, sitting and having your cup of tea with yourself. Yes.
Personally, if I tell you, I always believe that teachers, they are the world's best managers, because, they are managing the assets of tomorrow. I mean, teachers are professionals who create all the other professionals, no matter which sphere you talk about. And it creates a kind of impact. It's like, touching so many lives over the work that you guys do day in, day out. So no doubt about that, because no matter where you are, but people never forget their teachers. I mean, if they are fortunate enough to go to a school, they will never forget a teacher, no matter where they reach. So that no doubt is a great, huge impact of this profession. And that's why it's so important that, very talented, very qualified people, I would say, like you, should come and join this profession. Because the sad part of it is that today, most of the sharp brains, if I say, they are reluctant to take up teaching as a profession. But I think we must create an ecosystem where more and more people are encouraged to take up this as profession. Because as the Prime Minister also says, and several other, the leading philosophers of the world has said, that teachers are the one, they take care of the future of the country. So if people who are driven by passion, who are passionate about this work, if they come into it, then surely country will have a great future, no doubt about that. What do you think can be done to encourage, like today, as you mentioned, IAS, IITs, managements, so engineering. So these are the kind of stuff normally you hear students talking about most. I'm yet to come across someone in their, say, during their teenage years, or someone who has just, come out of class 12 to say that I want to become a teacher. So is there something wrong with the system? Why do you think that reluctance is there, if I'm correct in my assessment?
Absolutely fine. I totally agree with this, whatever you said, because this particular profession is the most underrated profession in India presently. When you look at the ancient world, ancient time, ancient Indian history, when you go through it, all these acharyas were given their due respect, and they were being, they were treated with a lot of respect, and their words were a line drawn. Yes, isn't it? So, and it used to be the law. But what happened nowadays is, even though these teachers are the one who are creating, who are making, I'm using the word manufacturing, these so-called mechanized lot, but the credit is not given to the person, to the teacher. Or maybe if it is going to or it's working very well in certain schools, may not be for all. So when you look at the teacher, they say, oh, he or she is a teacher. So teacher is a very underrated profession. But the thing is that unless and until we understand that this is the one, or some way or the other, there has to have some kind of respect that is never created, never, it is earned. Respect is earned. It's not,
you cannot command it.
It can't be pushed upon somebody. It is just, it is earned basically. So for us, for we as a teacher over here in good schools, we have our own understanding, and we have our children are very, very considering, and I don't know why, but the thing is that they are very, very respectful in certain ways. They come and make sure that they are talking to us, and they remember us. That's where. But most of the schools in our, like from our school, if I'm talking about my school, I remember all my teachers with a lot of respect, because I know them. They are the ones who made me what I am today. So, but the thing is that the present scene is that the teachers have themselves degraded. Some of the teachers, they have degraded, maybe because of that. There is always both the sides. You need to see the coin from both the sides, that either the society is making it, or even some of the teachers, they have been helping out and getting into all these kind of things. But the thing is, this profession is something that that's everybody should be happy, those who are working with it. But the thing is that it's not considered to be so very what do you call it, like as in the case of IIMs and IITs and all. They are the profession where you get a lot of money, so it is always in terms with the money. So they are always connecting it with in terms of money. So they are underrated. Obviously, teachers are underrated. This profession is underrated. Money is not very high over there. Maybe because of that, they consider it to be low key. But the thing is, the interesting part over here is, even though those children, those people, those who have qualified and they're qualified enough to be in best of their professions, they are sending their children again back to the school, isn't it? And they're sending them to the teachers again. Mm-hmm. And they want them to be behaved in and made in such a way that they are again the replica of their own. So that is what is very, very interesting. It's ironical here that they just tend to, and they are the ones who are creating a scene at home, talking about against the teacher within their house. What the child is picking up is the same, that the child doesn't have any sense of respectfulness for the teacher out there in the school. So it is always, you have to have that proper upbringing that matters. This is one thing. Second is, it is very underrated. Like in different countries, they are now treating their teachers at par with the senior officers over there. So it should be like that. It's not here. So we have to accept it what it is. But at the end of the day, it's always peaceful to understand, yes, this is what I am, and I'm able to, make somebody happy or somebody contented. That's what the idea is, and we are doing our piece of job. Yes.
Let's move to the slightly, I would say, lighter side of the discussion or this conversation.
Right, it's going very, very tough.
Yes. Any particular middle class habit that you think you still have?
Habit.
Any middle class habit or lifestyle that is generally associated with middle class, Like, I'll tell you something. Whenever we talk to people, I've been talking to the government, the head of the states, people from the corporate world, people who are entrepreneurs. So there is all this, there is this continuous discussion, basically, not just India, across the world, that who constitutes the middle class. Now, we at the Middle Class Hub, we are India's first platform exclusively for the middle class. Now, I have been asked this question many times. Then please tell us who is the middle class. So my answer is, see, this initiative, this platform is basically an attempt to unravel this mystery called middle class. Now, I'll tell you what I mean. When somebody told me that about a decade back, maybe 10 years back, when that person's father, he was earning about 20,000 rupees per month, he used to call himself a middle class Indian. Today, he is earning more than five times of that amount. Today also he calls himself middle class. So there are different various layers to the middle class, which is so difficult. Why? What I always believe that, there is this class, it always faces, I would say, it never figures in the priority list of the policymakers. Like this, even this Corona times, if you see, we all agree, those on the margins, the marginalized, the most weaker sections of our society, they were badly hit. Now, the thing is, people, they get, free stuff. No grudges against them. They need it, so they must get. But the point is, like they say, the corporates, the big corporates, they get rebate, they get bailout packages from the government. Now the poor, their loans are always written off. But where does this leave the middle class? Now, I have been asking this question to those who are in the corridors of power, that why is that middle class never figures in the priority list of the government, no matter which government you talk about. I mean, right since 1947, then I have been told very bluntly on my face that it is because the middle class doesn't vote. That is one criteria, that is associated with the middle class. Generally, there is this belief among the, and I'm talking about leaders from across the aisle, both sides of the spectrum. They say that they don't constitute a sizable vote bank. And I really appreciate them for being so honest about it. And that is why they don't figure. So this also is one of the typical, I would say, peculiar lifestyle trait that many people associate with the Indian middle class. Do you think that also is one of the reasons why middle class never figures in the priority list of the government, whichever government you talk about?
Whatever you say, I totally agree with it. The thing is that, let me be very specific about it. This country is, whatever the way this country is running, on whose, we are basically salaried people. Middle class are mostly salaried people. Their income, whatever they earn, they are taxable income. Most of them are, and they are paying it wholeheartedly. They don't have a choice because it is all done at the TDS itself. So they are paying for everything, whatever the government is doing for the underprivileged or for those people, for the corporates and all. Everything is, whatever they are doing, they're trying to please them. They get their votes. But what is happening to middle class? They are taking their money and paying and getting tasks done for the lower and the upper people, while for the middle class, nothing is happening. That is very true, okay? But the thing is that, when it's not happening to the middle class, why this middle class will go and vote for them? The thing has to be that, and those, even if I take the policymakers, whosoever they are a part of their middle class only. They are nobody from top ones or the very low society people. No, they are not. Who are bureaucrats? Bureaucrats are from among us, isn't it? They are what they are working out over there. They know that these people will not speak out because for the first 60 years, whatever they have, they are there tied up with their own, what do you call it? Their profession. So by the time they realize that what is happening, it's already they don't have anything left out. So whatever they are earning, half of it is going to the government to pay off their taxes and to see that what they do and what they are doing with it, whatever. But the thing is that middle class has very least time, least into all these things head, or let's say they are not getting or talking about number of things about all these things because they don't want to get into all these things. The reason is, I should not be using the word they should not be getting. Even if they do, they have only drawing room politics. They just talk about it, but they cannot go forward to do it because they are all bounded by something or the other, either by their profession or by their professional, whatever the hazards they are going to see. So it's better to remain quiet, do their task, give it what the government ask them to pay for that. And that's it. They are very contented lot. By the time they realize that after 60 years, after retirement, they don't have that much of energy to start with all these afresh. So most of the time, the policies are all done, all made for middle class and from middle class, by middle class, and not for middle class. That is it. This here, the definition changes. It is from, by, but not for. For is only for the downtrodden. I'll use the word underprivileged or PPL people, while for the corporate, they are getting waived off very easily. Things are done for them. What I feel, this is my very personal opinion. I cannot be sharing it with everybody. But the thing is that as the conversation progressed, I happened to talk about it.
No, but
so this is it.
I would say you put it so correctly, the way you put it, like And this is not just India specific, mind you. I mean, I'm talking about middle class. There is this raging debate about who constitutes middle class. There are different, layers within the middle class, lower middle class,
Right.
upper middle class,
Middle class is also
yeah,
there.
middle class, so many layers. But what you said, it's very interesting, your observation, that the policies, they are made, they come from the middle class, they are made by the middle class, but they are not for the middle class, right? So whatever government policy, because at the bureaucratic level, most of the planning and decisions, like they are they happen at that stage. And most of this, you talk about IAS, IPS, who come, I mean, these guys come from the middle class. They had certain aspirations.
Absolutely.
That's why they achieved and they are there, right? So, but maybe once they become part of the system, it's better to go along with the system rather than trying to change it. So whatever the
That
dictates
is
come from the political bosses, and there we know that it is only guided purely by their winnability. If a certain section today, I have always said this, to many of the politicians out there, that once like you have like there are certain different pockets for different political parties who are vying for power in different states in our country and also at the national level. So they have some have claimed to have monopoly over Dalit votes, some will say have minority votes, some will say Hindu votes, but there's no one who says that middle class is my vote. Middle class is my voter constituency, because you as you rightly said that it's but then the other side of the argument, which I'm told also many a times, that see, if you don't vote, then you have no right to complain, right? So you have to get participative in this whole electoral process, and that doesn't mean I was told by the national spokesperson of the ruling party at the center that when I say middle class lacks political aspirations, what I don't want the middle class to go and fight elections. Of course you go, it's your, if you want you can go and fight elections, but at least go out and vote, because unless you vote, you will somewhat feel that you are sidelined when it comes to, say, policy making or policy execution. So I think in some way middle class also must introspect, don't you think?
When I talk about myself personally, I make it a point that I vote. I do go to my voting booth, whatever it is, whichever party I'm voting for. But the thing is that when you look at it, when they know that the things are not going to be worked out from this, and because the one who are actually making them understand, or those who are at least trying to make them clear that this particular lot can, whether you do something for them or you don't do something for them, they are not going to vote, or even if they're going to vote, they will not be, they will be of no use, because they will be busy within their own, day-to-day, daily life, whatever they, however they are leading. So they are the ones, I believe that could be the one of the reason why they are not put into a clear picture. Yes, they don't have, although those people, those who come out of it, like for example, just I use the word the bureaucrats, they are part of us only, they are among us, one or two or five, whosoever they are there, they are among us. They are not the corporates, those who are becoming all those IAS and IPS. They are not the, very few BPL people are becoming all those kind of under reservations and all, but mostly people are from the middle class, and they know that they will not shout, they will not say anything. They are so very cheesed up with their own tasks that they have little time to talk about all these things. So let's and they are not the voters or the voting pockets for them. So they tend to make sure that they should be luring all those downtrodden or the BPL people so that they can get their voting right. So our situation, or any political party for that matter, they will be looking up to that only. They will not get into us, because we don't have that much of time to waste and talk about the rallies and those speeches and lectures and all. But just that, fine, it's happening. But we do have voice. We have always voiced out certain policies when it is made, whether it is heard or unheard, that's totally irrelevant. But the thing is that at least we do speak out that this is not the way it should have been taking place. One or two there should be participation of middle class people within it, so that it is easier for people to understand what actually they are looking forward. Like, if I have a problem, whom should I be up to? Because nobody will be listening to me. Nobody give a damn to me, because they know that I am of no use. I cannot be a good voter. I cannot be somebody who can be, voicing opinions. So it's better to look for somebody who has no, let's say, no LPG connection or something, or that they can be, they can promote it accordingly. So these are the certain things that need to be understood. So middle class people are always, they are the ones, they are within, they are living their own cocoon at times. So because they see that people are not going to, the policymakers are not going to give a, listening to them. So it's better to do whatever is within our capacities, within our capabilities, to make sure that ensure our lives, so that after retirement or whatever thing, we are happy and contented. That's it. There is no much of expectations also at this end. What I feel, this is what it is.
At the end, I would like your perspective on this very interesting insight, which I was told by a leading professor from the University of Cambridge, that and it's a global phenomenon. I said, we of course are India's first platform exclusively meant for the middle class. We take up issues about the middle class, the challenges they face, the opportunities they seek, and we take it to those who matter, so that it gets heard, and some course correction can happen. That's an attempt always of middle class hub. But what I was told by a professor of that university, that why middle class always is in a kind of a debt trap, or why is it that middle class never breaks into so-called, quote unquote, elite class, if I may use that word. What stops middle class from breaking into that club? Or rich is, there is no definition of what is rich, but at least, breaking out of this middle class income cycle, whatever that has been discussed, what stops? Why most of the people from the middle class, they fail to break into that elite class? So he had a very interesting observation. He said that, the problem with the middle classes, and you talk about India, you talk about UK, US, Europe, wherever, any part of the continent, they tend to, act rich before they actually get rich, because there is a lot of, I would say, a kind of peer pressure, which is mostly seen in India's middle class. This is also part of the psyche, if you can say. Maybe it is part of the DNA or in a middle class family, that if someone's child is scoring, say, 97% marks or 98% marks, if your child is scoring slightly less than that, you tend to, there is this very bad, I would say, tendency of comparing. Now, same way, in that kind of atmosphere, a child is growing up. Tomorrow, when they become parents, when they look to their, compatriots who are working at the same level or maybe slightly above or below, so they want to match up. Whether their income allows or not, they don't care. They need to have a house, they need to have their own car, if possible, a driver. So is that tendency that before they actually get rich, as in before they actually have that disposable income, they tend to own many things which they think are the luxuries of life, and that also kind of get them into a kind of a trap in which they are not able to come out easily, at least not before they hit 60, which is 60, 62 or 65, which is the retirement age for most of the middle class families who are into jobs. So is that also, you think, the problem with the middle class, that they want to first, act rich before getting rich?
I agree with this. Most of the parents, most of the families where you don't have things, but they have a lot of, they seem to be affluent in terms of richness, with terms of material, goods, but they have a lot of, they have a proper, or let's say they are not proper, or maybe they are being loaned by and the banks and all the financial institutions. They are there, they are ready to give out certain things. So they are the initial hitch has gone. They want to have everything with them. They are capable in a sense that they are being loaned, but may not be having that much of amount even to return. So they wait for so long for after their retirement, whatever the retirement benefits they are getting, they might be using it for paying it off. But that is very true. What I feel, even that's absolutely right. In our system, even if we look at it, we don't want to talk very high about our children performance. The reason is because everybody tends to make sure that they tend to compare. How is your child doing? She's okay. She's not that good. She's doing okay. It's like that. One cannot say, one cannot boast of it. The moment somebody boasts of it, it says, look, she's talking very high about it. If somebody is talking very high about the child, it means the child is very, very poor performance. So it's like that. So somebody, the parent has to understand this. This is the basic, say, conversation, normal thing within middle class people. They don't talk very high about their kids and all, unless and until they reach to a certain level that yes, they are able to give their best. But initial days, nobody says very good, unless until, and maybe when the child is an infant, then they talk very high about it. But after that, they don't. So these are now. I would like to listen to some of the middle class habits that you use the word. So what are the maybe I am also carrying something which I am totally unaware of. Would like to know from you some of the habits that you mentioned earlier. So
I'll tell you something, like since it's just on a lighter note, I'm saying, because I'm the last person on this planet that who believes in generalization, sweeping generalization of any kind, because that's the hallmark of a, I would say, qualified, if I may use the word, idiot, who indulges in such sweeping generalizations about any class. But there are many things, like people say that do you pay your bills on time, monthly bills? Do you have the time and money to take a vacation, say every once in 6 months or once a year? Or so so these are some of the things that people say that it's very typical.
Typical of middle class.
Typical of middle
and we
class.
tend, because the thing is that the finances are certain, there's a limitation to certain things. So we have to all plan certain things. It can't be done spur of the moment that you want to go somewhere and you can take a trip to Holland or Switzerland. It can't be done. You need to plan it 6 months beforehand to plan out your task that, yes, we are going over there to Switzerland. So you have to plan it accordingly, or you're going to somewhere else, or you are, and paying your bills on time. Yes, of course. Otherwise it will be all penalized for more of the amount. So it is always done on time. So these are the things that, and no wonder, because of this only the government is running. Policymakers of the policies. Yes, and until they are not paying off, nothing will happen.
Because the funny part is that somebody from in the middle class earning say 30,000 rupees or 25,000 rupees per month, they pay taxes. But there are many, I can name, the list will go on and on. I can tell you the number of corporates, the number of so-called farmers, self-appointed farmers, their income to crores of rupees every month, they pay zero tax. So so these are the systematic failures, and we can have a long discussion on this. But I must tell you, Kalpana, that it was wonderful talking to you, knowing your perspective on so many issues, and most pertinent of them all, the current education crisis, because no doubt Corona crisis has led to education crisis. So a lot of new things have come up, and I'm sure that those sitting in the corridors of power, they'll listen to it and they'll do the course correction where needed. The important thing is, of course, to voice our concern, voice our reservations if we have on certain issues. And this platform, as I told you during the course of this conversation, it is an attempt at that. We want to take such voices from the middle class to people who take decisions and people who execute, implement those decisions. So that's a very important aspect of this middle class, this platform. So thank you so much, Ms. Kalpana. And I'll tell you one thing from the team Middle Class Hub. I can wish you all the best for your future, and may you keep growing, keep shining, and keep creating huge impact on scores of lives, because you are in such a noble profession that it it gives you that luxury of creating that impact and changing lives for better. So thank you so much for talking to us.
Before I end, just want to add some lines.
Sure, please.
I'm really very thankful to having this particular platform where I voiced my opinion. I voiced my, hesitation on number of issues which I never happened to speak about it. And I'm really very thankful to this particular platform, which helped me in talking about number of things which was already hidden, or it was in a latent state over there. It was there, but I was not voicing it out because I was not getting a proper platform to say that. So I am really very thankful to Alankar, you and your team, who has taken out the time to be there with me and listen to my all these whatever opinions or things that I talked about, and number of follies I might have ended up with. But still, yes, it's a good endeavor, and I'm wishing you all the best for a wonderful endeavor from your end, and all the best for your effort. Thank you so much.
Ms. Sinha. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much.